Good morning, everyone. It's Melanisha with Just Homesteading. I am walking up to the garden, and the bunnies are out here in full force this morning. I'm going to do my July garden tour, and then we're going to also harvest whatever is ready in the garden this morning. It's actually really cold. I guess I shouldn't complain because it's been extremely hot, but I have on a hoodie in July because it's so cold out here. The garden looks a hot mess at the moment. I did a big harvest yesterday of leafy greens, so you'll see that video should be posted before this one, but I'm just gonna walk through and see what the garden looks like at this point. My hair looks crazy. Yeah, and then we're just gonna harvest whatever's ready. I know that I didn't do any harvesting yesterday, so I'm sure there are some things in here that are ready to harvest. So let me turn this camera around. So here's an update on the pink popcorn. So you can see it's finally starting to tassel. I see maybe 1, 2, at least 3 ears of corn on here. We have tons of beans at the bottom, and they should be coming in because I saw some little beans down here the other day. Yep, there's one. They're not ready yet. This small pot hasn't changed. There's a cauliflower back here that needs to be pulled, and I never got around to pulling that pepper plant out, and I harvested the collards in here yesterday. So I'll be pulling a lot of plants over the next few days, especially the ones that I harvested. So nasturtium, I will tell you, I've never had a nasturtium this big. So zucchini, this one has only given me 1 zucchini so far this year. Squash bugs are in full force right now. As you can see, the leafy greens have been heavily harvested. And this cabbage is ready to be harvested, but I'm not gonna pull that today because I'm not ready for it. These are Corbachi peppers. So they get a lot longer than this, but I've been pulling them because these are my kids' favorite, and I wanna ensure that we get a ton of them. So, because the more you pull, the more you get. Oh, look at, you can see that little bell pepper. Oh, there's more than one. So, and I think one of the good things about pulling all of these leafy greens, oh, look at, we're not gonna get anything this year. Look at that. I didn't even know this pepper was down here, but that makes it even worse. And there's another one. Oh, guys. I feel like this is shaping up to be the absolute. I shouldn't say that because we had a really good onion harvest, but I mean, they're not leaving us anything else. And that would have been our first large bell pepper. We have 2 Savoy cabbages. They're close together, so I don't think that they're going to get any bigger. So these could be pulled too. But again, I'm not going to pull those today. Let's look at this pepper. All right, they didn't need that one. It's small, but I'm going to take it. See, the kale has been heavily harvested. The Swiss chard, that broccoli needs to be pulled. And now the kohlrabi that I planted, I probably planted those at least a month ago, will actually get some light and hopefully start to grow. And when I walk around, I'm going to harvest that roselle that's right there. Celery. This one's almost ready. This is the, it's a broccolini. So this one's ready to be pulled out. I harvested, so I'm not a fan of the Georgia collards. I will say the Champion collards did the best. These are Georgia. They just don't get as big and as nice as the Champion collards. Another broccoli plant that needs to be pulled out. I have lots of weeding to do. Over here, we have pineapple mint, squash plants. There's some melons up here. Fennel. And then you can see that it's my first eggplant coming in. And I planted these zucchinis yesterday, and they need to be watered. So, look at this. Look at this cabbage. We're gonna have to get whatever spider's living in there out before we bring that in the house. But again, another Champion collards, I harvested that. Weeds. This bed, celery, squash, Swiss chard, broccoli that needs to be pulled. There's a tomato plant in here. And look at that, there's a tiny Savoy cabbage. It's been covered up for most of the season, so nice tight head, but it's really tiny. More celery. Actually, there's a lot of celery over there. These were collards, and then my Brussels sprouts. And over here, there's another cabbage that's growing. So there's lots of cabbage in the garden right now. This is one of my zucchini plants that has been giving me the majority of my zucchini. I did throw another one in right there because I think this one is just about done. And it's in my walkway now. Oh, and looks like there's more than one zucchini ready on here. Let's see. And I usually like to put my gloves on because the little needles on the zucchini plant really irritate my skin. So there's one. Oh, and I didn't get enough of the stem. So we'll have to cook this one soon. And there's a big one down here. Honestly, I can't even see where to cut it. Can you see that? There it is. And I'm actually surprised. Oh, there goes a squash bug. I have my gloves on. And I do not like bugs. I'm gonna throw a glove on real quick. Can you see those? Look at those squash bugs, the little baby squash bugs. Oh yeah, I completely missed this. I don't let my zucchini get that big normally. So yeah, I didn't see, because the plant fell over, I didn't see this one down here. Okay, so this red cabbage, it didn't really form a head like it was supposed to. So, and neither did this one. It's kind of forming a head, but none of them look like this one over here. See, we have a zucchini down in here that's ready. Yeah, I like my zucchini thin and small, so they're nice and tender that way. Alright, so this bed, squash plants, and honestly I don't remember what they are. Tomatoes, peppers, lots of weeds. I don't think look at these squash. They kind of look like pumpkins to me. If not a pumpkin, some kind of winter squash. Something that probably shouldn't be in this spot. Oh well. You'll see I have lots of... This bed is still empty. I need to replant my carrots. But there's kohlrabi over here. And those cabbages are still there, although they're not really growing. And that's lamb's ear. I just planned to start seeds myself, but I just didn't get around to it. And there's where buy one, get one free. So good deal, and it saves me a lot of time. And then I have some totes in the basement that I'm going to bring out here so that way I can store all of my pots. But these beans were just put in, and I might need to come in and thin them out. Some more squash plants, tomatoes, peppers. Yeah, this bed is mainly tomatoes, peppers. There's a small rosemary plant there and some thyme in the back. And I see that some of these, I think this is a Tabasco pepper. Okay, and then this bed, again, tomatoes. And none of my tomatoes, these tomatoes aren't staked up. I have stakes, I just haven't gotten around to it. So they're just growing crazy all over the place. Eggplants. There's like a little, and they're not aphids. I feel like they're flea beetles. They really like eggplants. So that's why there's so many holes in the leaves. There's a lemon thyme down there. And as you can see, because I haven't staked and pruned my tomato plants, I'm getting some, pretty sure that's blight. So I need to put that on the top of my to-do list. This bed was just planted, so this is where I pulled all of those Cathayan potatoes. So I came in and replanted brassicas in here. So there's a combination of kale, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Swiss chard. Yeah, I think that's, oh, and kohlrabi. You can never have too much kohlrabi. Over here, we have cucumbers that aren't doing that great. And there's also some squash plants in here that, again, aren't doing that great. I was hoping they would kind of grow down the side and take over, but they're growing a little slow. And my grapevine, it's making its way all the way down the fence. So over here, we have some zinnias and my sweet potatoes. So I am really worried that, especially now that whatever is in here is eating my peppers, but basically just eating whatever is ready to harvest. I'm expecting probably a heavy amount of damage to my sweet potatoes. But this one, and there's a bunch of different varieties in here. You can tell by the difference in the leaves. There's also a tomato plant in here. So I had pulled the first volunteer and replanted it, and I just never got around to pulling this one, and now it's huge and I don't want to take it out. So it's just going to grow, and we'll see what happens. We have some sweet potato flowers down here. Look how pretty that is. But those are the first two flowers that I've seen. Then over here, more zucchini. And you see I have little pumpkins. I think those are I think they're called mini boos or something like that. And looking at that zucchini down there, I think it could use one more day, or it might be ready later today. There's peppers in here. This cabbage didn't do anything, so I might pull that one. My Russian tarragon is officially too heavy, so that is on my list of things to harvest this week. As you can see, the beans are starting to grow up the trellis. And I already see some flowers on there, so that's great. I think this chamomile is about done for the season. And there's another little squash plant down there that you can't see because of the Russian tarragon. And here, those are those sweet potatoes I planted. Okay, I don't even know that I can actually get through this archway today, but you can see the Russian tarragon, and it's the Rampicante. So hopefully we get another one. I need to kind of weave this through the arch. Here are my beans. As you can see, they don't look that great. And again, something has been eating my beans. And I shouldn't say something, because I did see a mouse in the garden the other day. It was actually in this bed right here. There is a combination of, there's beans in here, there's celery in here, broccoli, there's a Savoy cabbage down there. We got some Brussels sprouts. I think you can see those. Spaghetti squash, and more beans, and then my volunteer potato plant that I need to pull. I mean, it's like I said, I saw a mouse in this bed, so there's probably no potatoes down there. Oh, and look at there, we have some tomatoes. So these are let's hope that these are the tropical sunset. These are delicious. We grew these for the first time last year, and they were amazing. My kids are gonna fight over these. Yeah, lots of tomatoes over here. And again, I started to prune these, but I just didn't get around to finishing. For the most part, they're growing up. The cattle panel that I have here, but they need a little bit of help. And you know what? You know how sometimes it's too hot and your plants, your tomatoes won't ripen? Look. Oh, and I don't even know what this one is. But we're gonna... we can't catch a break. And that's not blossom and rot. Something ate that. So that'll go in the house to go in the trash. I don't see any more ripe ones in here. And then, and I do have some kind of squash plant. Or I did. Yeah, I have a squash plant over here. Not sure what it is. But over here we have lots of weeds. Again, and these are melons. And we have a couple down there. There's I think that's a spaghetti squash. What else do we have over here? Cucumbers. Haven't been doing that great. Most of them are funny shaped. Yeah, you can see it down there. They're like curved like that. Even the ones that look like this, we're gonna pull this. Yeah, this is a Suyo Long, so they're supposed to be way bigger. These plants don't look healthy either. I did grab some more, so I might just pull these and put the new ones in. So we have another, I'm pretty sure that's a spaghetti squash. And then there's a little tiny spaghetti squash. There's a rampicante growing back down there. I don't know what the bottom looks like. And then there's one right here, and this one, oops, sorry, Mr. B. Oops, well, I guess I'm taking this inside because I broke it off by accident. So this is a rampicante too. It just didn't get as big as the other one. And if we look right down in there, I have a delicata squash. And then there are a few more growing on the cattle panel trellis right there. Yeah, I feel like my garden is in a phase of transition because it looks so different than it did before. But here's a look at the front section. Okay. And then we're moving into the middle section of the garden. There's not much to see here. I think for the most part, the berries are done. So that's what will be on this side. And then over here, you know, the asparagus is there. Strawberries. Again, these really need to be thinned for next year. Let's walk over. We have squash plant down here, cosmos, more squash and cosmos, and beans and purple kale. The herb bed has finally started to take off. fennel, basil, lavender, chamomile, stevia, lemon balm, rosemary, sage, parsley. There's a little bit of everything over here. But I'm not going to harvest anything now because I like the herbs to be dry when I harvest them. There's some oregano. The horseradish, it just took off. And then there's a couple of squash plants back here. And most of my squash plants don't have labels on them, so I have no idea what they are. We're just gonna wait to see what grows. So my rhubarb is looking a little rough. Strawberries look fine though. The Japanese beetles really loved the rhubarb. And there's another little squash plant, but I don't think that one's gonna grow at all. The blueberries are done for the season. You can't even see them really. And then we have one of my squash plants is growing through the fence. So it's in this same bed as the corn, but it has found its way through and it's growing into the perennial garden. And I'm just gonna leave it. I have no idea what it is. Maybe I think it's a winter squash based on the leaves. I don't think that's a pumpkin. So I have a sweet meat here, and it hasn't gotten any bigger. The plant doesn't look that healthy. If you guys remember, I had that squash vine borer bug in the garden, so I'm pretty sure it killed off a good number of my squash plants, unfortunately. But I'm just gonna leave the sweet meat there for now. That might be a bad decision, but we're gonna risk it. The corn has not started to tassel, and it's just really short. We have a total eclipse squash down there. It should get a little bit bigger. And there's also a Gilberty squash down in there. And see, I'm pretty sure this is a pumpkin. It's starting to grow out. This pumpkin died. And I have one lonely butternut squash over here, and this might be the only one I get, unfortunately. Yeah, I have some squash up in this pool over here with the black-eyed Susans, but they haven't grown for weeks, so I don't think we're going to get anything from them. Then here's the other bed of sweet potatoes, and this is where I grew sweet potatoes last year, and I definitely had pest damage. And then I have a grapevine right there that I didn't even realize that it made it through the winter, but it looks nice and healthy. Yeah, I mean, that's really it for today. There's a lot less going on in the garden right now because I'm pulling plants and putting new ones in. So it just looks like it's in a transition phase. Got some roses. Yeah, so this is a hard year with pests for us. Second year in this garden, so I guess they're starting to realize that there is food over here, which is really not good for us. So as soon as I see tomatoes start to blush, they will get pulled, and I'm going to bring them in the house, and hopefully that will help me save some of our harvest. There's lots to be planted, and I'll get to that over the next week or two. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Just gonna stand back and get you a nice view of the garden. It looks so different without those onion plants in here. But and I should show you the harvest. So this is what we got today. And remember that the larger tomato is trash because it looks like something, it's either maybe a worm in there or something, maybe a bird pecked it. But yeah, so that's the garden. This is today's harvest. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.